Yes, yes, yes. It is the CastWorthy podcast, and we are back Saturday night, August 6th. I'm Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed on the Twitter machine, joined by the VP today. It's been a while, good sir. You've been traveling the world, all about the United States. What's going on? What's new?
Not much, man. Just hell of a time traveling. That's about it. Had
Playing.
the worst travel day ever, man. So, and I've traveled a lot. Bus, plane, internationally, cruises. The worst travel day coming back from that trip to Michigan, man.
Yeah, flying to the Midwest from Florida, it always seems like there's only certain airlines and certain flights that go those routes,
Hmm.
and they always seem to get like delayed and canceled and shit like that. So, as much as I want to go to like Chicago and I want to get out there to that area, it's always tough for me to book it because number one, there's minimal flights. I'm sure you learned
Yeah,
that. And then number two, you got shit like what you had to go through with,
yeah,
pushbacks and, you know, people. And I guess it probably, I think there's better routes when I've looked at them before from like Miami.
hmm,
So I've considered like when I want to go to Chicago, like driving, and same thing with like Vegas, same thing, like driving to Miami or Fort Lauderdale and flying out of there
yeah,
because the routes are better and a lot more
yeah.
direct flights.
If you're traveling from a major hub like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, Newark, JFK, Vegas, Chicago, LAX, a lot of direct flights to other places. But like when you're coming from one smaller airport, which Orlando being a small airport, you would think that we would have a larger airport footprint given the amount of tourism that comes to this city.
Right.
But you're gonna deal with a lot of connections. So you know,
It seems like even though Orlando is like, to your point, probably the biggest tourist attraction in America, Disney World for the most part, closed
hmm,
probably, between this and, New York, but I'm pretty sure Disney World trumps Times Square. But anyway, you would think that there would be more flights. It seems like Orlando flights tend to leaving here tend to focus on going like to New York and like to Atlanta. Like you can always find a flight to Atlanta. Like there's
yeah,
like hundreds of those, but like you want to go to fucking Missouri or Kentucky or Michigan, it's always tough. But
yep.
you had some wild ass delays, and you didn't get canceled though, right? It was more
No, we
just
were
like
canceled.
you were canceled.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that um they actually hit us up the night before. They emailed me. I have my um preferred method of contact from them. Like if something happens, it's email. And this past experience taught me a lesson. I'm gonna make it text message next time because they emailed me at like 10:30 at night. The
Right,
thing is that our hotel was like an hour away from the airport, so we had already went to bed because we had to get up at like 2:30 in the morning, try to make that drive, and get checked in, security, all that shit like that for a six
right,
a.m. flight. So when I wake up, we just get up, start getting ready. We're not thinking about, oh, let me check my email, at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? And so we get to the airport, and the guy is like, "Oh, you guys' flight's been canceled." I'm like, the fuck? And they canceled us and rebooked us on a 7 a.m. flight the next morning. We'd already checked out the hotel, turned in the rental car. I was like, yeah, it's not gonna work. So he was like, let me see what I got. He starts looking around, and then he gave us the itinerary of our original flight was we were supposed to take off at 6:25 a.m., be back in Orlando by 11:15 a.m. with a 1 hour layover in Chicago. This flight I was actually very happy with because with the layover in Chicago, we weren't changing planes. So
Got you.
with me, it's a whole ordeal getting me off the plane since I'm handicapped. But I'm like, oh, I don't have to get off the plane. We're just gonna chill while they reload the plane and then fly home. But when they change, so again, leaving Grand Rapids, Michigan, 6:25 a.m., 45-minute flight to Chicago, reload the plane, and then 3 hours from Chicago to Orlando, done. But home by
Easy.
11. Easy money. They rebook us to leave Grand Rapids, Michigan at 10:50 a.m., arrive in Baltimore around like 10, like around 12 o'clock, somewhere around there. Stay in Baltimore until 9:50 that night, and then arrive in Orlando at like 11:30 or something like that. And then that 9:50 plane got delayed. We didn't take off to almost 11 o'clock. By the time we get to Orlando, it's after 1 a.m. in the morning. And by the time I actually walk into my crib, it was 2:21 a.m. Woke up at 2 o'clock, then get home to 2 a.m. the next morning.
Yo, you could have you could have rented a van and drove from fucking Baltimore
And
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 got
that's
here
what
quicker.
these people sitting next to us. I was talking to the lady. She was like, "You guys got canceled too?" It's like, "Yeah." And she was like, "What flight were you on?" It's like, "Oh, 6:25." She's like, "Oh, us too." And they were going to Raleigh, North Carolina. So they were supposed to take off from Michigan, fly to Chicago, and then connect in Chicago to go to Raleigh, North Carolina. It was a family of three. They were able to get the dad on a flight, on the same flight with us, leaving at 10:50 from Michigan, and they got him connected from Baltimore to Raleigh. The mom and the daughter, they couldn't. It wasn't enough seats on that flight, so they had to break up in
Yo,
Baltimore,
no,
and then the mom and daughter were gonna fly from Baltimore to Nashville, and then from Nashville to Long Island, and then
no,
Long Island to Raleigh, arriving at 12:30 a.m.
no. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not. I'm not fucking doing that, yo.
Nope. It's
First of all, I don't do fucking. I don't do layovers. Like, I think I did a layover one time in or connecting flight, whatever the fuck they call it, in Bad News, or I forget what they call it, Newport News, Virginia,
okay.
and that was like the worst shit ever, yo. Like, first of all, the worst part of flying is the taking off and landing. Like,
Hmm.
once I'm up there, I'm good. Like, at that point, I'm chilling. But the takeoff and the landing always fucking fucks with me and shit. So
Yeah.
to have to do that twice or four fucking times, nah, I ain't doing it. And I'm not splitting my family up. Like, yo, y'all gonna pay for a hotel until y'all find a flight for me to, you know what I mean, to for us to fly together. Like, that's
Right.
just the way this goes. But that seems like here's the thing, right? That's Southwest, because they be overbooking, so it makes it harder for when that type of situation happens, for you to be able to get the standby joint, because they've already overbooked.
Hmm.
It's not like the other ones where a lot of time, like JetBlue for example, who bought Spirit, shout out to them, because yeah, now I can get some more flights to other places with TVs. But they book, and you pick, like the movie theaters, right? You pick your seat ahead of time, at the time of booking, and you good money. No, Southwest be like, yo, you better get here early, cause if you if you last aboard, you might or might not get a seat.
Yeah.
So I don't fuck with them, man. I think we
Yeah.
we flew Southwest one time, and that was 10 years ago when we went to Vegas when I turned 30. And I mean, don't get me wrong, that flight wasn't bad. It was direct flight there, direct flight back, and it wasn't bad. But what was bad about it was I didn't know at that time about their little first come first serve boarding type
Yeah.
shit. And I'm never like a early bird type dude. Like, I don't get nowhere, especially the airport. I hate being in the airport. So for me, I generally get there like 30 minutes, 45 minutes before, and I'd be pushing the
Yeah.
limits. Like when we went to Jamaica, we missed our flight because I didn't know you had to be there an hour early to fly international.
Yeah. Hour early. I mean, international. They say you should really be there 2 hours early.
Right, right. Oh, I'm sorry. They board an hour early. That's what I meant.
Oh,
So
okay.
they locked the cabin an hour before takeoff, and I didn't know that.
Mm.
But I hate it, yo. So like I even went ahead and got the do you have the not the clear, what's the other one?
The pre-check?
Pre-check. You have that?
No,
I got
I
it.
go to the front of the line since I'm handicapped.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you always
Well,
board first.
not in Orlando. Like Orlando, they it's like that as well, but like they don't when regular folks get in the line, they don't make them get out. So I'm
Oh,
in
I
line
got you.
with like able-bodied people, and I'm like, why is this person in this line? So everywhere else we flew out of, like there's a line that's clearly for handicapped people, and then there's the line for everybody else in the pre-check or pre-clear, whatever it's called. But in Orlando, they seem to be like, yeah, fuck it. I mean, you're in the line, so whatever. You know what I mean?
Nah, I got the pre-check. It's worth it, especially like now while everybody's traveling and the lines are mad long and shit. Like when I went to New Orleans, I didn't have it going, and me and my boy got there to the airport. The same we were both going. He walked right through, and I was stuck in security for like 40 minutes, and then maybe a little less, maybe like 20 minutes. But coming back, yo, there was three of us and two, and I bought the upgrade because you can buy the upgrade through Spirit in
Mm,
New Orleans. So I bought the upgrade through Spirit and to do the walkthrough, and I walked right through. And our boy that had come from Connecticut, he didn't buy it, and yo, it took him about 45 minutes, almost an hour to get through the line. Yo, the shit
damn.
was wild, yo. It
Yeah.
was wild. It's the travel right now in general because people been locked up for forever, right? So
Yep.
you got those people, and you got people that were not afraid of COVID that book shit because they were thinking, everyone else is gonna be afraid. Shit's still gonna be around. Be able to get through. Yada yada yada. But yeah, man, it's crazy,
Yeah.
and so. I'm the one thing I'm not looking forward to, and you probably how long was the flight for you like to Iraq?
Um, I think it was like 17 hours, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah, fuck all that.
It's not
So
those flights. Everybody says that whenever you talk about long flight international, those flights actually they don't feel that long because you sleep most of the time. So you get on a plane, like if you're traveling to like somewhere in Asia, you're usually gonna fly out of the West Coast. So that's that part probably will suck because you got to leave here. You're probably connecting like Atlanta or Charlotte or something like that, and then fly over to like LA or like Dallas, somewhere like that, and then you're gonna connect, and then go to Hong Kong or wherever the fuck you going, right? But the part of the flight where you're in America, you're probably going to be up for most of that. But like once you get on the long leg, that flight that's going to last like 12, 13 hours or whatever, you're going to sleep most of that. Like they put movies on, and then you fall asleep, and then next thing you wake up, you feel somebody tapping you. That's like the flight attendant asking if you want a hot towel before they serve food, so you can like get the shit out of your eyes, get the drool off your face or whatever. And then you eat, and then you start watching your movie again, and then fall back asleep. Like when we flew to Iraq, like I said, it was like 17 hours. I probably was awake like maybe 6 hours of the flight. Like, so
that's
you
still
spend
long, yo. Fuck all
nah, I hear
that.
you. But yeah, you spend most of it sleep, man.
So I'm flying out to Hawaii
Mm,
next week,
that's a long one.
and
It's like
we got
6 hours
lucky.
to LA and then 6 hours to Hawaii.
So we got lucky. Their Hawaiian Air recently started direct flights
From here?
to from Orlando,
Oh, that's nice.
to and from, but that bitch is 10 hours.
Mm,
I,
that's easy. 10 hours easy.
the fuck, yo, I'll be ready to get off when I'm flying to New York, and it take 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do for 10 hours, and I gotta Google it, but I don't think they have TVs, which is gonna
Mm,
be very frustrating for me.
yeah, that would be.
So
I've never been on an international flight that didn't have a TV. So that would be very frustrating. But for that, what I would say is, you could do a couple of things, right? Like
oh, and they
um
don't have Wi-Fi. I'm pretty sure.
so you could bring like your tablet, bring like your iPad or something like that, download some shit you've been waiting to watch, a couple like a season of whatever.
Ten episodes.
Yeah, like you can watch it. You know how I be binging a whole season in like 2 weeks and shit. You know what I mean? Like, so or a whole series really. I watched the whole Wire series in like 2.5 weeks. So if you got like a show like how you were saying, like on P Valley, like whenever you and EJ talk about it, you're like, oh man, I'm like 6 episodes behind. Like boom, there goes 6 hours right there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm actually, yeah.
So you get on a plane, you put in like 3, 4 episodes of P Valley, you probably fall asleep episode 4. You wake up, you've been asleep for 3 hours. You put in another couple episodes, fall asleep again, and next thing you know, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, put up your tray tables and seat backs. So,
I need to see what time the flight is. If it's in the morning, I'm probably gonna just break night
yeah.
so
Or
that.
like there you go. Don't sleep the night before. That way you get on the plane, fall asleep. Or and then you could do other stuff like when I went to Iraq, one of my homegirls, she's like really into Scrabble, and so like we didn't. That flight was like Southwest, where we just sat wherever. So we sat next to each other, and she had like a travel Scrabble game where the
Yeah,
pieces like they like punch in so they don't
Velcro
move.
type shit. Yeah,
Yeah, and so so we played Scrabble for a little bit, and then I'm like, man, I'm tired, man. So we put the game away, left all the pieces plugged in, took a nap, woke back up. All right, let's finish the game. So you do little shit like that. They got the you watching movies. You can bring your own like. They were we didn't have tablets back then, so I'm watching whatever movie they're showing on the plane. But you can bring your own devices now, listen to music, whatever. So it's plenty of shit to do to keep your mind like off the time.
yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I just hope I don't. I mean, I need to read some reviews on it. It's probably a little late now because I already got this shit booked. But
Yeah.
I probably should read some reviews on Hawaiian Airlines and just see like what the fuck because yeah, no TV. I'm gonna have to go buy another iPad, like, cause if they don't have TV, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So we'll see, man. I look forward to it. I will be, it's 10 hours there, and I guess coming back, they probably like clip off some of it going through like going over like the Gulf or something, so it cuts
Mhm.
off like an hour, so it's like 9 hours instead coming back.
Yeah.
So,
And you
but
never know, you might get lucky and um like when we came back from Iraq, um our plane was supposed to stop in Maine to refuel. So we left Iraq, or we took a military flight from Iraq to Kuwait, and then we flew on it was actually a Southwest flight. It was a charter, a Southwest plane or whatever that they chartered from Kuwait, and then we flew from Kuwait to Budapest, Hungary, from Hungary to Ireland, and then Ireland to the States. But when we got to the States, we were supposed to stop in Maine, refuel, and then fly from Maine to South Carolina. But when we left Hungary, um, we were getting close to where they were going to start descending to land in Maine. And the pilot came on and he was like, hey, everybody, we don't, it's up to you guys, but we don't need to stop or whatever. He was like, because originally our flight was scheduled for, I think it was 260 something of us to leave, and
mhm.
somehow the logistics people fucked up, and it was only 65 of us on the plane. So he was like, because of the difference in weight, he was able to not use as much fuel on the flight. He was like, so we got enough fuel all the way to South Carolina. What y'all want to do? And then we all started screaming out like, yo, take this bitch home, let's go, like, don't stop. And he was like, all right, let me call the FAA, do a flight plan change. So like you guys could get, I'm not saying you're going to get that lucky where it's 200 people, only going to be 60, but you could have something happen to where, they're able to move the flight faster, and then you gain some time, because they don't fly those planes at the speeds they're supposed to. So you get on a 767, 747, whatever kind of plane you're going to be on, and those planes can go like 500-600 miles an hour. But
Yeah,
because of the timing of the routes and shit like that, your plane might only be doing like 380. You know what I mean? But maybe something happens and they're like, yo, we need to get this plane back to Orlando faster because of some shit down the road in the schedule. So you need to fly at 450, and then instead of 10-hour flight, you got like 8.5-hour flight. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. It looks like they do have TVs on the back, so they have in-flight entertainment, so that's dope. No Wi-Fi, which is fine. If I got that, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, on the back of the seats and shit. But
Yeah.
I might have to look, man. I might have to do a little upgrade joint because I don't want to be bumping elbows with motherfuckers with monkeypox and shit. Like this, this shit scary, man. Like I saw, I don't know what the count is up to, and I know it's a small number in comparison to the population of the United States. But last time I saw the report, it was um, almost, if not more, than 7,000 cases in the United States.
Yeah, and whatever the number you're seeing, you really got to add to it because that's the testing is not where it's supposed to be. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to figure there's cases out there that aren't being caught. You know, so if it's 7,000, you probably got to put another 1,000, maybe 1,500 on that.
Yeah, and that's the and yeah, that's the people that have that are not in denial. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That actually went to get tested and shit versus the
Right.
people that are like, oh, this is just a little canker sore or some shit. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And the crazy part about it is, you know, it like COVID when it first started is like that very long. It's got a long incubation period, like anywhere from 5 to 21 days or some shit. That from what
Damn.
I saw, which is shit's wild, man. Like I've been seeing a lot of videos and shit. Social media is a fucked up place, yo. Social media is turning into like the news. Um, but I've been seeing a lot of people videos like TikToking and Instagramming, you know, that have it, you know, and telling their experience, like the pain and the fucking itching and the burning and the fever and
Yeah.
like, and then you see like their lesions and shit, like the fucking yeah, that shit, the bumps, that shit looks wild, yo.
Hmm.
That shit wild, man. And
Yeah. They
so
need to get a handle on that shit, man.
for real,
'Cause
no one
you
out,
like
no, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say you just can't have another like outbreak while we're still in the middle of an outbreak. You know, talking
Right,
about COVID. You know what I mean? Like like
dude.
that's too much,
Knowing that I
man.
was traveling, I wanted to, you know, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go grab my COVID booster, you know, or extra whatever they call it, you know,
Hmm.
and then try to get the monkeypox joint, which they said is the same as the smallpox. They said
Hmm.
if you get the smallpox vaccine, which you know they discontinued back in the 70s, um, as a regular thing, but
Yeah.
if you get it, it'll help with with monkeypox or whatever. But as I called around multiple places that do vaccines and doctors and my doctor and shit, and apparently, you know, DeSantis, we know he doesn't believe in it, in anything that's real. So he has, you know, blocked the monkeypox vaccination here in
Hmm.
Florida to date. So there's that.
It's awful, man. Like, I was telling somebody like I the shit with him seems worse to me than other people because there are some people out there who really don't believe in vaccines and you know critical race theory and like all that other bullshit these people claim to be against, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but for somebody like DeSantis, he doesn't strike me as somebody who actually feels that way. He's pretending to be that way in order to garner support from these people, and
Yep.
I feel like that's worse. You know what I mean? And not just that. Like it's one thing to like let's say he was running for office and he was talking shit about vaccines or whatever because he knew that's what these people wanted to hear, and then once he got elected he's like, oh well, I got in here, I thought one thing, the doctors told me some shit, and so got to follow the science kind of, but he already has power, and he's in the way that he's exercising the power is literally going to hurt people, and he's doing it on purpose for political gain, and
Yep.
that's it's so fucked up, man.
It's funny you say that because I had that conversation with somebody yesterday, I want to say, or maybe the day before. He's worse than Donald Trump. And when I say he's worse than Donald Trump, I mean in the sense of it's exactly what you're saying and it's what I was saying is he currently has control over a state with tons and tons of people already here, right?
Hmm.
So it was different where like Trump was a dick and he was creating, you know, before he got in office, he was creating a following and creating a culture of, you know, all types of wild shit, but he didn't have power to strike shit down or sign shit or that's going to impact people. And so right now, yeah, that's where DeSantis is. So he's a scarier candidate right now than Donald Trump is, I think, by
Hmm.
far. And so even worse, right? If he doesn't, you know, win, which hopefully he doesn't, um, then he comes back and we deal with that shit, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
So
man, it's that shit is just awful, man. Like, I say this to people all the time, like when we talk politics. Like, I'm not sure of anybody who listens to this podcast or have ever had a political discussion with me if they left it wondering, I wonder if this guy's kind of liberal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't hide my political views. You know what I mean? And when George Bush was president, I could not stand this guy. I thought he was a terrible president, right? But I never thought like,
hold my
this guy
beer.
didn't. Right. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we agree. I disagree with him on policies. Like he thought the tax rate should be something. I thought it should be something else. He thought we should send people to Iraq. I thought we shouldn't. You know what I mean? But I didn't think that like if something like COVID happened, or you can't even say something because something like COVID did happen. That when
Right.
when we had bird flu, and then SARS happened while he was president.
Yep.
I never thought like, man, nobody's behind the wheel. Nobody's in charge, or the president's gonna come out and say drink bleach, or not sign off on people getting vaccines and shit like
Right.
that. And now with these people, you have to literally wonder about that. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. And the thing is like you were saying earlier, is that this person holds power, right? So here you got the federal government saying, "Hey, we got these vaccines. We need to go and get them shipped down there to your state." And he's like, "Nah, we're good."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And so,
It's a control factor, and that's what makes it even worse because, listen, man, I get it, man. You got to do just like you said. You got to do what you got to do to keep your supporters, to keep your base, whatever, right? I'm not even mad at him for that. But it's one thing to say something. It's another thing to say something and then control other people who believe that they should have or they want something to keep them from getting ill,
right,
potentially from getting it, and I'm sure, like he did with COVID. When he does finally come around, the vaccines will go to the areas that are red, you know, um, where the rich get them, the wealthy get
hmm,
them, and then on the back burner will be the leftovers for Orange County, which obviously he can't stand, and the likes of it. And that's what makes it bad, man. It makes it tough. And while when you have conversations with people that are far right and whatever, and they talk about coming from California or New York, which is not nearly as bad as, like, I guess in their eyes, as California from a Gavin Newsom standpoint.
hmm,
You don't like him because of stuff that he believes in, and that's fine. But the stuff that he believes in, you can choose not to take part in and be fine. That's the
right.
difference between us being in a state where this guy can make it to where by the time he decides, oh, you know what, maybe I was wrong, it could be too late for a lot of people here.
Right. And that, and you like, we're dealing with this outbreak here, right? And like the guy who's our head medical official in Florida, the Florida Surgeon General, is this dude named Dr. Joseph Ladapo, right? He's from California. He's not even from Florida. And DeSantis hired him as Surgeon General because he was one of these people who went to DC with this group of doctors who were saying like, "Oh, COVID's not that serious. The vaccine is bullshit. Masks don't work. All these kind of things like that, right?" And so DeSantis was like, "Yeah, that's the guy who needs to be in charge of medical shit in this state." You know what I mean? And if you have a guy like that who's telling you like, "Oh, don't worry about the vaccine," a doctor who's saying the vaccines don't work, masks don't, like, if masks don't work, why do surgeons wear them in surgery?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like it's this shit is just ridiculous, man. Like, we you know we are really like fucking ourselves up as a country because we decide like you ever seen the movie Idiocracy? It's a
No,
Mike Judge movie.
I think you brought this up before, but I
Yeah,
think you
you
mentioned it
really should
before, but I
watch
don't
it.
think I
Like
saw it.
it's a comedy, right? But basically in the movie, this guy gets like not frozen, but like he gets put to sleep and he wakes up as like 500 years later. When he wakes up, everybody in the world is stupid, and he's like the smartest man in the world. And when he came from the time when he got put to sleep, he's like an average Joe, you know. And when he gets there, everybody is so stupid that he's the smartest person in the world.
Yeah,
And you know, and you watch that movie and you see the things that they do in the movie for comedy, and it seems like a joke. But when that movie came out in the early 2000s, you watch it in 2022, this shit is almost like a documentary. Like there's a part of it where there's a company called the Mondo Corporation, and their
hmm,
Mondo is basically like Gatorade essentially in that movie,
right.
where the Mondo Corporation they were trying to get more people to drink Mondo. So over the past 500 years, essentially, Mondo bought the FDA and the FCC, and they declared like Mondo to be like a vegetable, and so Gatorade to be like a vegetable, and so people had to have it with everything because they own the FCC and the FDA. You know what
Oh
I
my god.
mean? And so and so when he wakes up, like none of they can't get crops to grow, and they go out to a crop field, and they using him because he's the smartest man in the world to try to figure out why the crops won't grow, and so the sprinklers come on, and some of the shit hits him from the sprinklers, and he tastes it. And he's like, "Is that Gatorade?" And he's like, "It's Mondo, man. We put that shit on everything." And they put Mondo to like they're watering plants with fucking Gatorade. So, but you see that and it sounds funny, right? But then you think about how these corporations buy and sell politicians. You know what I mean? This week, the Senate Democrats are trying to reach a deal on Biden's agenda, and they finally make a deal with Joe Manchin. And one of the things was they're going to close what's called the carried interest loophole.
Yeah.
It's a tax loophole that hedge fund managers use, right? They were going to close that, which was going to bring in like billions of dollars of tax revenue. Kristen Sinema, quote unquote Democrat of Arizona, goes and talks to some hedge fund people. Like, what do you guys think about that? And of course, they think that's like the devil. Getting
Mm.
rid of the carried interest loophole. You might as well be aligned with Bin Laden. Like, come on now, what are we talking about here? And she goes in and sinks that shit. So they're gonna get rid of it now. You know, and
Wow.
so and so like I said, you watch that movie and you think like, come on, man, could a corporation bought the FDA? And it's like, well, they got a senator. Why couldn't they go further than that?
Hmm. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's this should it's kind of scary seeing the monkeypox shit, and maybe it's not as bad as of course people think, but it's just the potential, and especially with school starting, they're talking about kids getting it and kids being more vulnerable, of course,
Mm-hmm.
because they touch each other and they don't wash their hands and shit like that. That's what makes it even more nerve wracking. But hopefully, whatever it takes to try and get that shit under control,
Yeah.
it'll happen. Um,
And that was real quick before you turn the page on this. Like, speaking about thinking about you getting ready to travel on that flight, man, the mask wearing on these flights is just. I
I
mean,
know that's what
it,
I'm
it
also worried about.
it's barely happening. Like we went on those multiple flights, and on one plane that we were on, I think I counted like 8 masks. Full flight, 200 something passengers. I think I counted 8 masks. And then on the flight coming back from Michigan, we did all of that shit. When we left Baltimore to head to Orlando, I saw more masks, but by more masks I mean like maybe 30 on another full flight of 200 some people. And so it's like people act like COVID's just it's behind us. The airport's open, so yeah, COVID's not happening no more. That's what are you talking about? That was 2020, man. You know, so
Yeah,
it's amazing, man. I would like this time when we flew last year to those tournaments. I just had on like a cloth mask, like the ones that Michelle made, And this time, man, I was like, fuck that. I had me an N95 respirator. Like, I was like, I'm not fucking around this flight, man. Like, this shit is too serious, man.
Yeah, you think about I mean, that's just how people are right now. The numbers are high, you know what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
guess people are, it's not as people aren't being hit as hard as the previous variants, I suppose. At least is what they're saying, and I think the bulk of it is because also a lot of people are now vaccinated too. So those people are good, and the elderly are vaccinated. So of course deaths and stuff are down,
Hmm.
and casualties. So um, so that's it's a better situation. It sounds like, but still like that the whole being sick and not knowing what the long term effects and you know how your body's gonna react is
Right.
I rather not fucking
Exactly.
chance that shit, bro. Like it's
Exactly.
and I still like for me mentally, I hear someone cough, I'd be like, oh shit, you
I'm
know
the
what I'm
same way.
saying? Or sneeze, I'd be like, yo, my nigga, you
Cough,
don't
clear
got
your
a
throat. I'm like,
you don't got a mask on, like
call
like
911 and get a attempted assault or some shit. I'm just like, yo,
yeah, if you knew you knew you was gonna cough today, you probably should have put a mask on. Like
exactly.
that's the shit that be going through my head, yo. This shit is mad extreme, yo. But yeah, man. But I look forward to to the travel and everything, and I know it's gonna be crazy with the lack of masks and trying to sit on the flight for 10 hours and shit like that. But I mean, it's necessary evil. You know what I'm saying? Um, So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I got about a weekend or so before I dip, and getting prepped for that. Um, Let me see. What can we transition to off of monkeypox? So, we're talking about that, and this week, speaking of COVID as well, Joe Biden tested positive. Then he retested positive, but seems to be doing oh well. Okay, older guy. Not sure what else is going on in politics right now, VP. But I'm sure you'll be able to enlighten us on some of that shortly. Prepping for football season. That is another thing that we got going on. Desean Watson's whole thing took place this week, where he was handed down 6 games. For those who don't know, Deshaun Watson has a thing for massage parlors, and there was about a I don't know how many, but there was an extreme amount of them that came out and said that he had some inappropriate behavior whilst getting his massages, where he was you know getting himself aroused and kind of just staying there and letting expecting allegedly expecting happy endings and stuff, and it wasn't that kind of party. These are actual licensed massage individuals or whatever they call them. He sat out all last year. People were wondering if he was going to be able to play this year. Signs with Cleveland Browns. NFL passes down 6-game suspension. World comes for him basically saying 6 games. What? That's wild and crazy. Naturally, once social media gets involved and the NFL feels like the Shield can potentially lose money, it's time for them to now step in. The NFL has made a decision to appeal the decision of 6 games, and so Deshaun Watson will be dealing with that. There was rumors that the NFL is looking for upwards of another season, in addition to some hefty fines. And I'm not sure, what that's going to look like or how long it's going to take, but it's just not something that seems valid, at this point. You know, and the reason for it is, while we don't, it's not condoned for someone to be, you know, having that type of behaving like that, and treating women a certain way if it all took place. And of course, we are sensitive to those that are that made the allegations. But everything that took place in court, all the settlements and things like that, charges were dropped. He wasn't charged. So it's, the question comes to, where are we today, right? How do we get out of this lifestyle where people can just kind of be held accountable for something that may or may not be true, just because of an allegation. And if the law finds that it's not something that happened, that's where the challenge comes in for me. It's one thing if he got charged, if there was some proof, and naturally with this kind of behavior, there's no cameras. If there was cameras, somebody else would be in trouble. It'd be a whole different other kind of problem. But no proof to it, and he didn't get charged. Charges were dropped. So, in my opinion, dude should be left alone, man. 6 games I thought would have been fine. I thought it was a little hefty even at 6 games, but I get it. You got to make an example out of somebody. And for the NFL, it's funky because they this is a process that they started, where they started with the new team of legal individuals who heard these types of cases and made the decisions. And the very first one that they hear, the NFL decides, well, let's go ahead and appeal this. It's just not right. So, just kind of weird, kind of off for me. The whole Desean Watson thing, VP. Welcome back. I know you dropped for a minute. So I just kind of outlined what took place.
I was listening.
The whole six games, etc. What's your take on it?
I thought that the 6 games was, he probably was lucky, because I felt from the beginning that the NFL probably was gonna give him a full season, and I've seen media reports saying the NFL wanted to go 12, but I've thought they were gonna give him a full season. So when it was 6 games, I was like, oh man, he got off light. But I think part of the reason the NFL is appealing here is that, excuse me, I think Desean Watson and the Cleveland Browns tried to be too cute with the salary game they played.
Contract thing.
Right. So it's like, we're going to give him a salary, or not a salary, but a contract that's $230 million, fully guaranteed. And then if you divide that up by 5 years, it's probably like 40 something million a year, thereabout, whatever the math is on that. Right. But they structured a contract in a way to where in year 1, he only gets paid $1 million. And then the rest of the years, he makes the other $229 million. Right. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, he was only going to lose like $300-something thousand in salary for the games that he missed for however long the suspension was, which they probably were thinking a year as well, which is why they made that first year $1 million. And I think that's part of the reason why the NFL is looking at this and saying, we got to appeal and we got to drop the hammer on this dude, because they feel like something happened here. I feel like something happened, although, in the court of law, he didn't get charged with any charges in Houston. I believe there's still an open FBI investigation. I would have to check that out to be 100% sure. But regardless of that, I think that the salary gimmick played against him here. And I think he's going to end up being suspended for the full year, or not even for the full. I think they're going to suspend him indefinitely, and then he may get to come back, in the middle of next year or something like that.
Yeah. And it's possible. The thing for me with that is, the legal proceedings fell through. What happened with Robert Kraft? You know what I mean? Like, and this was a whole thing. Like there was proof of that video. You know what I mean? Like, you're going in, this is what this shop was for. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole different story versus, these are allegations, and again, right? Not to downplay what may have happened, and the impact that it might have had on those people if it did happen. But when you talk about, you know this is a job, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's the same as if somebody had a job and they're working at McDonald's or wherever they work, working for Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and you get arrested, alleged, or or you have an alleged domestic dispute, and then now your job says, well, we don't know if we want to keep you around, or we're going to suspend you for an extended period of time, you're not going to be paid. And you're like, yo, but shit got dropped, like the charges got dropped. They came because the call was made, but ultimately the charges were dropped. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a profile thing. And again, we know the NFL, we know Goodell, we know that they feel like don't ever tarnish the shield. Conduct detrimental to the shield type stuff. But if it didn't happen based on legal proceedings and what people are saying, then
Mm-hmm.
how can you say, like, to say, oh, his conduct was no good? Well, what was the conduct? Him getting massages? Because from everything we know, technically, nothing happened.
So I hear what you're saying, right? And this is what's gonna really fuck Watson up, right? And I think you know how, I know there's a saying for this, and you may know it because I can't. It's not like coming to the front of my mind here. But like you try to solve for like one problem, and then you create a new problem. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is what the players did, because when you look at stuff like what happened with Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys, right? And other players, the players were like, we got to get Goodell out of the mix because he's giving these unjust punishments to players, based on in Zeke's case, a false allegation, right? A proven false allegation, right?
Right.
And so when they do the new collective bargaining agreement, they put in this independent arbiter who makes the decision to take the decision out of Goodell's hand. But where the players fuck themselves at here is that, from what's being reported, is that the independent arbiter that they have now, whenever they appoint one, their findings are binding. They can't be appealed. So in this case with Desean Watson, the former judge, she found that these allegations were credible and that essentially Watson did this.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying he did all 24 cases, but that he did this behavior. You know what I mean? And so he can't appeal that at all. So she essentially found him guilty. The question now is how much time he gets. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? And had the players not done this, maybe now, if Goodell suspends him, like in a Z case, you can say, well, I'm going to file an appeal and go to court and try to get the suspension downgraded. Where you see some players like, oh, well, Goodell gave him 10 games. They went to court and the court dropped it to 4. You know what I mean? So now Goodell is going to use that binding resolution, finding, whatever you want to call it, and say, okay, yeah, she said he was guilty. She said 6 games. That's not enough, in my opinion. So we're going to hit him for the whole season.
Right.
And now you're kind of stuck. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I said, I know there's a saying for it. I can't think of it, but it's like you tried to solve one problem and you essentially created a new one now, because now you got these independent judges who are going to come in and look at a thing, and then they're going to give a resolution. Sometimes it's going to work in a player's favor where they say, yeah, it's all good. They didn't do it. But in this case, it's not.
Yeah. But one of my old bosses used to say, "You're stepping on your own dick."
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
like you. It's just the actions that you're taking are hurting you more, and it may not be right now, but it's hurting you in the long run.
Yeah. And
Um,
the thing for me too, Steve, is that, like, I hear what you're saying with, like the criminal justice system didn't file any charges or anything like that, right? And just like lack of charges doesn't necessarily mean innocence. It means that a prosecutor
right.
can't prove a case. They're not coming out saying this person was totally innocent of this, so we're not filing any charges. They're saying, somebody alleged something happened. We looked into it. We can't prove that thing happened, so we're moving on from this thing, right?
Mm,
My problem with the Deshaun Watson thing has always been not only the number of accusations, but just like think about this from like a me and you standpoint. We're not a person who's made almost $100 million over a career and things like that, right? We're just two regular guys. Before I was handicapped, right? I have a barber. That same guy has been cutting my hair for 8 years. I don't
mm,
go to nobody else. If he ain't gonna be in the shop, I don't get a cut. You know what I mean?
right.
And so we know how athletes, your body's your temple, they got their own chef, their own, trainer, their own this. They got a barber who comes to the house and cut their hair. Like I remember I saw a thing with Donovan McNabb. He was like, he went and bought all the equipment that his barber needed because he don't even want to use the same clippers that somebody else has been using. You know what I mean? So the barber, only thing he does is show up and all the shit is there already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This dude got 60 different masseuses. You know what I'm saying? That shit don't make
Listen,
sense. The
this is a
same shit with
temp
Robert
agency.
Kraft, right? The same with Robert Kraft. You a billionaire. You got in your Bentley and had your driver drive you to a strip mall to get a massage. Like, come on, dude. That shit. They don't got massages at the country club. You can't get on the phone and call somebody and think about those stories that you hear about how this celebrity, had a sandwich flown in from Pittsburgh, you know,
Yeah.
but you going to the strip mall for a massage? Like, come on, bro.
Maybe that place had great reviews on Yelp. like like that's I googled it and it looked like it was 5 star, they said, so I was checking it out.
Like that's the part of it that always got me is that like regardless of like the evidence, what the law says and stuff like that, I'm just like me, like I said, me and you, we're regular dudes, and we won't like even like from a woman's standpoint, some women probably been getting their nails done from the same person for years, and it's like, oh, my person's not in, I guess I'm not getting my nails done. I'll have to just go out with these nails looking fucked up and I'll get them done next week, because people like, and we're regular people. I can't imagine somebody who has millions of dollars, who has access to get whatever it is they want. If you're a masseuse, like let's look at it from the masseuse standpoint. You got into a business that don't pay a lot of money, and now you hit your break, and you got a client who's a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he says, "Hey, I need a massage after the game, but we playing in Miami. You the masseuse based in Houston. You telling me you can't get on the plane for
Oh,
the biggest client you've had since you've been in this game?
hey, they might
You
have had.
like imagine you're a chef, right? And they say, "Hey, Steve, you busy Saturday?" And you say, "Yeah, man. I had something coming up. Why? What's up? Hey, listen, Obama wants you to come cook for his birthday party." Yeah, I can't do it, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog.
Maybe he just needed some deep tissue action, man. Like some of them. Listen, he got a problem, He has a problem, and I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that he got aroused at times. Like you got a chick that's rubbing on you, And I'm pretty sure, if I remember, in one of the statements, there was a chick that one of the masseuse girls, licensed massage therapists or whatever they call them, LMTs, um, indicated that like he had his towel on, the towel's in the right place, and when before he aroused himself, she could see his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's a big guy. You know what I'm saying? Like what do you want? Like what do you want? Your hands got a little too close, and sometimes you can't control it, man. If you sometimes listen, he has a problem. He absolutely has a problem, and I don't doubt that there was I don't doubt there was some funky shit going on. For me, I think, and we talked about it when it first happened and everything. I think, ultimately, there was some people that knew about it. There were some people that were on board with it. Some people made a lot of money, and maybe the money was stopping, the well was drying up, and or hey, they were making the money, but this is an opportunity to make a lot more money. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like I don't have to go in and rub this nigga's balls, like you know what I'm saying, for for 3-4 grand or 5 grand. I don't gotta do that. I could I could me to it. So, since someone finally came out and broke their silence, I was part of this. I can break it and maybe I can make a couple million. And listen, we live in a world where money is so important, right? And so I'm not saying that them doing it, they may have liked it, right? If they were being paid for it, you don't always like what you do. You know what I'm saying? You get paid for something, and it may have been something that just wasn't right for them. They didn't like, but it's an opportunity. It's 5 grand, 10 grand, whatever he was, whatever he allegedly might have been paying. If they knew what was happening, what was going on, and if they didn't, and he was just being a fucking nasty man, then it is what it is. Did you finish the massage? Is the question. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like once I pop up and you like, whoa, what's going on? You like, hey, this is just how it goes with me. If you finish the massage, then you equally at fault, in my opinion. At that point, you leave. Like, you know what? Nah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and send somebody else in.
But for a Desean Watson type, anybody in him or anybody in his position, there are people out there who, don't they're in this business
with that life, with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, so maybe like you should contact the professional. You know what I mean? And they can get you a massage. No, I'm saying like those they give massages. And then they'll also get you right. You know what I mean? And then you have them sign an NDA and you keep it moving. Yeah. Instead of, dealing with, come on, man. Like this. Yeah, that shit is crazy, man.
That needs to be a part of the thing. Like that needs to be like either you need to sign something or you need to agree to, to be on camera. Like that's kind of where it gets now when you talk about this type of situation. If you're someone who's into that and you're that concerned with it, bring them in your crib. They can't record you because it's confidentiality. You're naked and shit, barely close to it. But if you recording, and they agree to it, and you get them to sign and agree to the recording, hey, at the end you good. Or at the end, like in upload, right? And at the end, hey, I need you to just go ahead and record this video basically saying that we had a great massage appointment and nothing funky happened. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's to that point now where, and even if it doesn't happen, people are going to be wanting to, to settle to try and prevent any type of backlash on, on their character. You don't have the people like the Tory Lanez's who, he was, Meg Thee Stallion said he shot her and shit like that. And he was just like, nah, I'm innocent. I'm gonna fight this. Y'all gonna throw me through the mud, but I'm gonna live through it. I'm gonna deal with it. A lot of people would rather not deal with that stress, that going through the mud, that even though they know they may be innocent. So,
mm-hmm.
In these situations, if you're a celebrity or somebody with an extreme amount of money, if you're the person that hit that Mega Millions in Detroit or wherever, Chicago, you should probably go ahead and think of some type of plan to keep yourself safe, because people are targets, dog. People are targets, man.
And if you're the person, on another note, that hit the thing in the Mega Millions or Powerball, whatever it was, in Chicago, call me.
Right. Yeah. If you need,
I miss you.
If you need anything,
I miss you.
I've taken some masseuse classes for the right amount. Listen, I got you. So when you disconnected, we were wrapping up Monkeypox, and I wanted to get with you on what was going on this week in the Politi-Minute. I made a quick outline of Biden having COVID and retesting and stuff like that, but doing
Mm-hmm.
well. But I think there was a lot that took place. I mean, the capture of somebody. I'll let you speak to that, and a couple bills being passed, and some gas prices dropping, some jobs shit. So hit us with it.
Yeah, man. This week, man, this has probably been the best week of Biden's presidency. And it all happened while he's down with COVID. So he might need to just fucking keep COVID if it's gonna be like this. But this week he starts off the week announcing that he ordered a strike that killed Ayman al-Zawahiri. He was the number two guy. He's the head of Al Qaeda, but during 9/11, he was the number two guy behind Bin Laden. Um, um, that helped plan and uh, not execute, but help the planning and strategizing for 9/11. Also, the USS Cole, that Navy ship that got bombed in 2000, the U.S. Embassy in Kenya. So Biden announced that he ordered a strike that killed this guy in Afghanistan. Then the CHIPS Act passed. The CHIPS Act is a bill that's going to help bring semiconductor or computer chip manufacturing to the United States. Um, Ramp that manufacturing up in a big way. A couple days later, they passed the PACT Act, which is a bill for veterans who, um, when you're deployed in like Iraq and Afghanistan, they have what's called burn pits there because like it's not like here where you put the trash out in front of your driveway and somebody come picks it up and takes it to a landfill. So they basically just dig a hole in the middle of the base and throw trash in there and burn it. I mean, we're talking about, car parts, tires, plastic, medical waste, just regular trash, food trash, whatever. And all of these like dangerous things are like mixing together and then turn into smoke and shit. And you're breathing it, you can smell that shit like on base. And some people have developed cancers and asthma and sleep apnea and all kind of conditions from this shit. And so this bill is going to make the VA recognize those conditions and compensate some of these veterans for that with disability benefits. And Biden also said his son, Bo, the one who died, he believes that his son's brain cancer was a result of being near a burn pit when he was in Iraq. And
Wow.
so they finally got this thing passed. Then the Democrats reached a deal on what they're calling the Inflation Reduction Act, which is basically his Build Back Better plan, just with a different name and a different price tag. They've reached a deal to get that done. And then the jobs report that came out Friday, 528,000 jobs created in the month of July. Economists were expecting about 250,000 jobs. So it was a monster blowout report. So yeah, just a wave of good news. And then also earlier in the week, you had the Kansas abortion vote that was on the ballot. Now that wasn't necessarily a Biden thing. It's a policy that Biden supports that won. But so just all in all, just a really good week for him, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everywhere I looked, it seemed like there was a lot of positive stuff going on. So that's good, man. A lot of that stuff I think is really good. I guess the part that or the question I get is that I have, and we talk about it all the time, is this is where the Democrats need to kind of march around the United States and saying, "Hey, this is what we did." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And get that on Republican TV and shit, similar to like DeSantis, signing checks and Trump signing checks and putting their names on shit that they had no part of.
Hmm.
It's just something that the Dems need to do. But in addition, with all of that success, we saw gas prices come down significantly. 3.58, I think, when I got gas the other day. Of course, I was
Hmm.
at Sam's Club, so that was light. But the national average in the United States is under $4 right now,
Hmm.
which is the lowest it's been in a long time. So I think it's a good time for him to look at student loans now. Like this would
Hey,
be
well, actually, there was some news on that the other. I was out. It was when I was traveling, so I wasn't on the pod. But the education department sent a notice to all of the student loan debt financiers, telling them not to send letters to anybody about restarting student loan payments when this moratorium is coming to an end in August. And people are speculating that it could mean one of two things: either one, because the White House has said whatever it is he's going to do, they're going to announce it by the time the August 31st moratorium, before that comes around. So people think that either one, he's going to do the 10,000, but then also push back the uh the
moratorium.
moratorium on making payments, or he may be getting ready to go for the big number and do like 50, and then go from there. um I've seen some people who are strategists who think that he shouldn't do the full 50. They think that he should do 10, and then tell people, I need some help in the Senate. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, kind of thing. You know what I mean? um,
Some nigga
I don't
shit. That's
know.
what that's what you need to do,
I don't
basically.
I don't know if Democrats are cagey enough to do something like that, but who knows?
Yeah, no, that's. I think that's a bit much. That's unethical. Yeah. But yeah, and here's the thing, right? Like for me, I've come to understand that something's gonna happen, and I just think something needs to happen. I think, and pushing the moratorium is would be great as well. In addition to whatever, if it's 10K, if it's nothing, if it's just like, yo, don't send these letters out. We're still figuring it out. Push the shit back. Push the shit back. Push the shit back. Push the shit back. Push it back till you get to fucking 2023. Right before, or 2024, right before we start to talk about voting and going into the political time frame, and then say, hey, student loans been gone for a long time. Hope this has helped you guys. I got some added sugar to put on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Just keep pushing, 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 and then drop your last bomb. And at the very least, like I said, man, I think the biggest piece to it for me that I would love to see, and I know it's not in anyone's conversations, and I'm not the smartest guy or most political guy, and I don't get paid to think like this, but I'm sure someone does. Take it off fucking people's credit reports, yo. Like, only let it hit you if you go delinquent, but take it away so it doesn't count towards your debt. And sort of like the medical bills and stuff like that. Just because as long as you're in good standings, once the payments start again, you're fine. It's not gonna show. The minute you miss a payment, that delinquent payment is gonna go on, that missed payment is gonna go on there, like everything else, like a credit card, like a car payment, and you'll keep people honest in that sense. And so that people don't just say, well, it's not going to hit my credit, I ain't paying it. But yeah, they'll still pay it because they don't want that piece to it. But you're no longer having these creditors or these underwriters look and say, that debt to income is a little high, when realistically, a lot of times people could probably make it happen. They will make it happen in some sense. So I just think, from that standpoint, thinking outside the box, even if it's just a 10K type thing, find a way for it to not to impact people that way.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I mean, we should. I mean, we're in August now, and the moratorium ends on August 31st, so we should be hearing something soon. But the
August.
last I heard was 10,000, which that was probably like in June. I was hearing that, so we'll see. Watch this space.
August will be a good month for me. Quick month too. Week in Hawaii, come back. Then we start. That Sunday is Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And then
He should have pushed to September. Nobody ain't paying attention to shit in August.
Yeah, they probably should have, especially since that Sunday I have 2 fantasy football drafts. And draft season generally will start during, like, preseason football started Thursday with the Hall of Fame game. So we'll have some preseason games, throughout this month, and there's preseason that weekend. So they're gonna be fighting with some stuff. that Sunday on the 21st. Draft season is around the corner, 21st, 28th, then Labor Day pops up, and are they going to skip that weekend, right? Like, do you skip your third episode?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most people skip Labor Day weekend with whatever episode falls there. I don't know if Game of Thrones can afford that unless them first two are bangers.
Yeah.
Because there's skeptical people like yourself and E who feel like, yo, you got to win me back, like you cheated on
Right.
me
That shit
basically.
was. It was just, man. It just went from sugar to shit, man. They,
Right.
like you said, like you they stepped on their own dicks.
Yeah, they
You know,
suck one dick.
like you started
Oh,
off with a great series, and then you threw it all away for you know
phenomenal
like I
series.
said earlier, you tried to solve one problem and create another one because D&D, Dan and Dave, the showrunners, you know, they were killing it on Game of Thrones. So then Disney hires them to do like I think it was episode 8 of Star Wars. You're thinking like, oh shit, about to get Star Wars money. We got to wrap this shit up. You know what I mean? And then they fuck up ending Game of Thrones, and Disney's like, ooh, yeah, I don't know. Those Star Wars fans, they kind of the same people as Game of
Right.
Thrones.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of
And,
intersectionality there, and
and more diehard.
yeah, and I don't know if we want to have your name attached to this project because them people we read the internet. You know
Right.
what I mean? and then you don't get your Star Wars shit. And then that other show, I think it was going to be on Netflix. I want to say where they were doing it was like one of them what if kind of shows where like if the South had won the Civil War. I don't even think that shit got made. So
Good.
you shitted on yourself with Game of Thrones and then didn't get the two things that you were going to do.
Right. Right. That's what happens, man. It's like going to the interview and then being disengaged somewhere, and then that gets
Mm-hmm.
back to the hiring manager.
Right.
You I was watching HBO the other day, and as we talk about Game of Thrones, and they were doing a Thrones what do they call that, marathon.
Like a marathon.
Yeah, and just so happened the episode that was on when I got there was the Battle of the Bastards. And man, I forgot how good that battle was.
Yeah. That shit
Like
was
that,
epic.
dude. I forget how good. Dang it, I forget now. I'm forgetting his name. How good of,
Jon Snow.
no, the other one, the one that we hated, the dick
Oh,
cutter,
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Yeah.
Like how good of a like they had some really good villains.
Yeah.
And like Joffrey,
Yeah.
to this day, I think Joffrey might be potentially the most hated. Like,
Yeah.
People be like, oh, I hate Tariq, from Power, and I hate Walter White Jr. or whatever his name was, and shit like that. But this dude, like Joffrey, man, like I really hated that motherfucker.
Yeah, I
Like, I
couldn't
couldn't
stand
stand
that motherfucker.
his face, yo.
I couldn't stand him. I
They
told
did
you,
a
man,
good
for a
job, man.
while, HBO had to hire security for him because like people
Yeah,
were like hating this motherfucker on the street and shit.
shit
He
was
stopped
wild.
acting because all of the shit that was happening with like with all the shit he was getting from Game of Thrones. He stopped after he died on the show. He quit acting. So,
Damn. If I was
but yeah,
him, I would try to get back in it, but like go grow a beard and change
yeah,
your whole look so people don't really recognize you.
or maybe get off. Sometimes like people they get out of the movies and start doing like Broadway and shit like that.
Hmm. Yeah,
But yeah,
I
I mean he's definitely a
absolutely.
good actor because I hated that motherfucker.
Yeah, they did good, man. They all did. I absolutely look forward to that show. Hope it's good. I hope they don't screw it up, but I think it looks like it's gonna be good. And can't wait for that. You been watching anything else?
Nah,
Or
man, I just
anything?
been Westworld and Big Brother,
The new one?
which is the reality show Big Brother. We love that shit. So we actually with all the traveling we've been doing, we actually had to watch it on demand to get caught up. So we finally got caught up earlier today, and then Westworld, and then with Westworld, it's I don't know where the hell it's going. I'm still kind of
To the trash. That's where it's going. Fuck
Well,
out of
I
here.
think with Westworld, they try to do like a big reveal every season, and so like usually you get to like episode like somewhere between episode 7 and the finale, they try to do some kind of like oh shit moment, and so maybe once we get there, it'll like make more sense or whatever. Like it's not the stuff that's happening. It's not bad. It's just I'm not sure where it's going at this point.
Yeah,
And we're like 4 or 5 episodes into the season already. So
that ain't it, Chief. You lose me. Um, yeah, I've been, P Valley. I caught up on that, man. Listen, man, Big T, rest in peace. Dude is such a great actor, man. Barry, when you watch it, you gonna. It's only 2 seasons and they're short episodes, so you'll catch up quick. But he's he's a very very good actor, man. He did a great job. Even like Little Murder, he's like when you gonna be convinced because I am 100% and 20 plus whatever that this man is gay. You know what I'm saying? But also a thug. Like he's like he be killing people and like he about that life. And I actually like that's gonna sound bad, so I'm not gonna say that. But I like I like his character, Like I really do like his character, and I like,
yeah,
I like for those that do watch P Valley, I like Uncle Clifford. Great character. They do a good job writing that show, man. I
yeah.
shout out to them, man. But I'm caught up on that. I watched another show on Netflix. I forgot what it's. Dang it! It has Neil Patrick Harris in it. It's called Uncoupled.
Hmm.
Uncoupled.
I don't think I've heard of that.
It's 8 episodes, maybe 30 minutes a piece. And really, I think they were made for TV, so they're not even the full 30. But it's him and his lover, his partner. They break up, and he's trying to get in back into the single life. Gay man, and I think they're in New York, if I'm not mistaken. And he's trying to figure out dating. He's an older guy, not older. He's his Neil Patrick Harris age. But he doesn't understand like the dating apps, and he goes on these different dates, and it was actually a pretty good, it was funny. It's a comedy, so it's pretty funny, and I thought they did okay with it. It's a Netflix show.
Yeah.
Eight episodes, quick watch, not horrible, not great, but something to do, something to watch if you get a chance.
I actually did watch one other thing. I watched probably gonna get killed for this. I watched the Princess Bride, an old movie, and because it was one of those things where like it came up in a conversation, and my wife's like, she's like, "You remember the Princess Bride?" I was like, "I've never seen that movie," and it was like, "You've never seen the Princess Bride," And I'm like, I didn't know it was one of those movies that like it just has. And so I watched it, and I was just
Me
kind of
either.
like, eh.
Yeah, right.
Like I didn't get it. And then
Yeah.
when we were talking about it, she was like, "Well, like according to her, it was one of those movies that it came out in theaters, it didn't do well, and then later it got like a cult following, you know. So that's how it has that kind of you haven't seen the princess. But when I
Yeah.
watched it, I'm like, I mean, I see why it didn't do well. Like I don't think it
Right.
was that good. I
Maybe
mean,
it should have
I'm
went
pretty
straight to DVD.
yeah. Or no, this movie, The Princess Bride, came out like in the '80s.
Oh,
So it was VHS or whatever.
straight to tape.
But it apparently is one of those movies that people like you never seen Color Purple. But it wasn't that good to me. But apparently it's one of those movies because it has this cult following or whatever. But I didn't think it was that good.
I've never seen it either, so don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And then there's a little fun series on Netflix called Street Food that I started to watch, which is pretty cool. It starts off in California, and it's highlighting at least the first episode in California. They're highlighting like the street, food trucks,
like food trucks kind of thing. Okay.
yeah, burritos, Tex-Mex, shit like that. So it looked pretty dope, and it really makes me want to go to LA because like I already had that feel for LA and Cali when Insecure was on. Just like watching how they would always like pop up at a dope little fucking gastro type spot or a food truck for, you know, some type of dinner or
Yeah.
late snack or whatever. Like I always was like, yo, that's dope, you know. Food truck alley, I think they have out there. It's called or some shit, and I always just thought that was a, you know, it's a dope scene that I'd like to see. So I plan on that's on the to do list. I would have probably not been upset with a layover in Cali,
Yeah.
if it would have been long enough to kind of go out and live a little. But I'll reserve that. Maybe take a West Coast trip to see Cali and get back to Vegas. And I really want to
Yeah.
see Washington, you know, the state. But other than that, nothing really much other on the that I've watched. So, but we'll keep an eye out for what's happening with this Game of Thrones stuff, and
Yeah.
I'll absolutely look forward to that. Another thing in the news that I missed there for a second was while we were at this on the kind of sports type thing was Britney Griner. Um, so Britney Griner was sentenced to 9 years for some CBD oil or THC oil, some weed oil, basically all. And I think it's just, you know, the Russians trying to get leverage. You know, I think it's Russia
Yeah.
trying to get leverage. I think they completely understand that 9 years is long, but they're trying to make that forceful trade with the United States, and you know, the United States, they feel like, well, you know, the United States isn't going to let one of their people sit in a Russian jail for 9 years for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for a weed pen. So that's kind of the feel that I got for it. You heard anything new, or what's your take on it?
As far as anything new, that's the last thing, which is that they gave it a 9.5 years. The Biden administration made a offer to the Russians to they were going to trade Brittany Griner as well as this other American named Paul Whelan, who's still over there. He's been over there for like since like 2018 for this Russian arms dealer named Victor Boot. And you know, that name is probably not a household name to folks, but if you ever seen the movie, excuse me, if you ever seen the movie Lord of War with Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
the Nicolas Cage character is based on Victor Boot. Um, he's serving a 25-year prison sentence for being an arms dealer. I think he's served about 14 years so far, so more than half. But you know, but I think the Russians understand, like, we don't want to leave Americans over there, so they can target these people and put them in jail, give them super harsh sentences, so they can ask for, you know, oh, we want this spy back. Because I mean, think about what they're asking for. It's not like, you know, there were some Russian tourists over here that we got in jail, and they were okay. We'll give you Brittany Griner, you give us back Steve. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
asking for a basketball player. They want an arms dealer,
Mm-hmm.
like, and then they actually countered our offer, and they're asking for the arms dealer and this other guy. I can't remember what his name is, but he's in prison for murder. But we don't have him. He's in prison in Germany. So they want us to use our leverage with the Germans to get him released and make him a part of this deal for Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan. And the Germans already said hell no. So you know, we're back at the drawing board kind of. But
Back to
it's
it.
they know what they're doing, like you said earlier. You know, they know they got leverage, and this kind of goes back to what we talked about a few weeks ago, when, you know, people were going ham, and the State Department talked to Brittany Griner's wife and the family and told them, like, yo, let us do our thing. Like, don't make a big deal about this in the media, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we're gonna negotiate. This is how diplomacy works. It works behind the scenes. You know, like when you watch the news and, you know, Biden shows up to Saudi Arabia, or, you know, Obama shows up to Cuba. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't just wake up one day and was like, yo, let's get on Air Force One to go to Cuba. Like, there was some people working behind the scenes, getting shit together. And then once everything was right, they were like, all right, let's send the boss now to close it out. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just the same shit. You watch the Yankees. They play the 8 innings, and then Mario, what's his name? Mario Rivera,
Mariano Rivera.
Mariano Rivera. He comes out and he shuts it. He closes it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same shit with diplomacy or whatever. But people were like, nope, we got to go. We're not making enough noise.
Right.
And people are going crazy on Twitter and news programs and things like that. And the Russians like, oh, this chick is like somebody over there.
Right.
Yo, we need the arms dealer. Like,
The minute I know they had Twitter shut down, but the minute they probably found out, that they were comparing her to LeBron James, they probably were like, "Oh, let's double that sentence. Let's go from
yeah,
4.5 to 9.5. That's easy money." You
and
know.
it's easy. It's easy for me to say like, oh, her wife shouldn't have been doing that. I'm sitting there in my home. You know what I mean? But I get it. She's not my person, but there's a reason why the people who do these kind of things, they're experts. They, like the people who are doing these kinds of jobs, they have expertise. They've been doing this shit for a career, for a lifetime, and we try to armchair quarterback everything, as if like, yo, I watched this 10-minute YouTube video about foreign policy, so I clearly know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night. Like, you
they
should be listening to me on
yeah,
this.
they feel like they. I watched how to thread some eyebrows, and now I got a fucking boutique type shit. Like,
Like they're like, you
relax.
can't be an expert at everything. Like chill out and let people who know what the fuck they're doing handle this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and no, it's. I think you said this maybe his in on a previous episode, but it's they gotta be careful with it because it sets a tone. You're setting a tone now to where, wait a minute, all we gotta do is grab an American with a decent name, and we can demand XYZ back, and it's not just Russia that's watching this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is basically telling the world, like, yo, we gonna do what we can for our people, which is great, but it's there's consequence that comes with it, and
Yeah,
people get thoughts and ideas. That's how kidnapping for ransom got big, right? People are
exactly.
like, I'll pay the price. It's my kid or my wife or whatever. I'll pay the price.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And
And you also got to wonder why we don't have like some kind of travel, like the same way we tell Americans like, don't go to North Korea. Like, we should probably have that same kind of warning out for Russia. Like, stop fucking going over there,
right.
because it's a good chance that you may not come back, because they're gonna put you in jail over some trumped up charge in order to use you as leverage to get a spy out, or a murderer, or an arms dealer, or something like that.
And that's yeah, and that's the other piece. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I do recall they said that she was offered, like many others, or advised to leave Russia months prior. When all this stuff was happening and sanctions were beginning and the war in Ukraine and stuff, and she made the choice to stay a little bit longer. I get it. You're trying to make money. You're trying to get the bag. Excuse me, get the bag. But now look, it's just a tough situation, man.
So speaking on that, let me ask you a question on that, because that's kind of been a topic that people talked about, and it's along the lines of equity, right? Like pay equity. And people make the argument that, Britney Griner wouldn't have been in Russia if WNBA players got paid not necessarily equal to what NBA players make, but more money than they get paid now, that they don't have to spend their off season playing in Europe or playing in Russia or Australia or whatever. And so what are your thoughts on that?
It's bullshit. Um, I listen. I get it. I am on board with the fact that WNBA players, they're athletes, and they deserve to be paid better. I'm not on board with them being compared to specific athletes, and people trying to make it seem like it's a gender thing, or this is the reason why she's dealing with this now. Like that's a bit, that's a bit much for me. When you see all the posts and stuff about LeBron James made more than all of the WNBA. LeBron James makes a lot of money for the NBA. It's in a lot of companies where people don't understand, and you just put it into everyday terms. People that do sales get commission, and if you sell a lot, then your commission is higher, and you can make a lot more than somebody who's just doing customer service. You know what I'm saying? And then that's where the demand is, and that's kind of how the NBA is. Like people don't watch, and if you feel that way, support it, right? Like that's the other piece. And all these people barking. When's the last time you bought a ticket to a WNBA game? When's the last time the person, I mean, and I'm not talking to you, I mean the people. Like, when's the last time these people that are saying this turned on and watched a whole WNBA game? When's the last time? Tell me who's in the finals. Tell me who's in the playoffs, right? Give me 2 players on each. Matter of fact, give me 5 team names. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right now, I can't. Like, I can tell you the LA Sparks. I can tell you
I was going to say the Sparks. That's the only one I know.
Connecticut
I don't even know the
Sun,
name of the Miami team, and we have
they're
one.
still there. Right? And so, again, if you want something to pop, you have to support it. It's just like politics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't complain about politics, but then not go vote, or not go, for whatever, not know the policy, not understand what's going on. You can't, you just can't. You can, because everyone has a right to do whatever. But you sound stupid, and you look stupid for not supporting, and that's just like for me, right? And I'll again take this to a whole nother situation with the NFL. When everybody was boycotting it over the Kaepernick thing and shit like that. Listen, I like football. Like I like I like I like watching it. I like the entertainment value, and while I didn't feel like Kaepernick was getting, I felt like he was getting a raw deal, but a lot of people felt like he was getting a raw deal, and they were up in arms and pissed off. But on Sunday, they turned on the TV to watch the Giants play, or the Cowboys play, or the Dolphins play, or whoever, right? Like, I almost feel like our society is, people just now have to do something just to say that they're on the right side of it. So I guess that was a long answer to your question, but long story short and a short story shorter, I don't want to say that she's there because she wasn't being paid enough. It might be so she had the decision, but I don't think it's something that the NBA needs to feel bad about, or that anyone else needs to feel bad about in that sense.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you. At the end of the day, that league is not that popular. So, that league doesn't, it's almost like, when we talk about college athletes being paid, and people talk about all the money that the football players or the basketball players get in the NCAA. And it's like, well, football and basketball is what carries student athletics in college. People aren't showing up to swim meets. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you're the parents of the swimmer, yeah, you know what I mean. But like, I ain't watching no fucking college swimming. When I watch the Olympics and they say this swimmer swims for the University of North Carolina, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Or hey, this swimmer swims at Florida. I didn't know that guy was from Florida. And that's as far as my interests go after the Olympics are done.
Right. I didn't even know colleges had swim teams.
Exactly. And so so I get that. But I also wonder if the NBA or not, if the NBA could potentially do a better job of marketing and hyping up the WNBA, and could that make it more popular in order for the athletes to get paid more, and that way they don't have to play in the off season. Because I mean, the NBA, these guys shut it down. They're out there training and honing their craft and stuff like that, running their camps for the kids and that kind of thing like that, but they do get time off to kind of recharge the batteries and get ready to go for the next season. Whereas some of these players are like, okay, season's over, it's time for me to head over, to Europe or to wherever to keep playing because I gotta live. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm. You know what's interesting, and I had to Google it because I felt like this was gonna be my amazing idea, but it's already a thing. And of course, if I would have said it and it would have been and it happened, then it looks like I took some idea. But what I was gonna say is they could and I'll tell you what I Googled in a minute. But what I was gonna say is that WNBA partner with you know with the NBA and 2K and get some of these players into the 2K game and get their attributes up, right? Like a Diana Taurasi or Skylar Diggins, make them good, make them strong to where like when these kids are going out to play, the street games, NBA street games on 2K, they may want to choose Skylar Diggins, for a reason and get their name out there, to like that's the type of thing that you gotta do. And sure enough, right, I Googled it just to see, and it looks like there is this year going to be a WNBA cover. It's the WNBA edition. Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird for NBA 2K23. So that's kind of dope, and I think that's gonna be there's gonna be an opportunity there for some marketing for them.
I didn't know Sue Bird was in the WNBA.
You did or didn't?
Didn't. Like it kind of goes to the point you were making earlier. Like I've heard the name before, but I thought she was like one of the people on the national soccer team.
Right. All right. And we're back. There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, when people say WNBA players are not paid enough, Yahtzee, and she's a big name. Like Sue Bird's a pretty big name.
No, I know the name. I didn't know that she played basketball. I thought she was a soccer player.
But I feel like there's absolute opportunity here, right? There's absolute opportunity. Even if you made a couple of them like unlockable players to where you complete some type of achievement and they are extremely overpowered, OP, strong to where these kids like that's where you have to target. Just like look at Fortnite, Travis Scott and these guys, like kids are telling their parents they want to watch they want to watch Travis Scott videos and shit like that because they saw him in the video game.
But I also wonder too, like when you talk about the NBA's like marketing and stuff like that, right? Like look at a person like a Megan Rapinoe from the national soccer team, the woman with purple hair. Look at somebody like what's my girl on the gymnast, the Simone Biles, right? Now, even though Simone Biles, she's the GOAT, she's huge in her sport, that kind of thing. She's in a sport that while it does go year round, nobody really watches gymnastics like my wife does. But most people only watch the Olympics, like me, for example, right? I don't know who any of these people are until I watch the Olympics and I see them on TV. You know what I mean? But these people are like huge household names, even though the majority of us only see them every 4 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? And how is it that we have athletes that play every year and people don't even know who they are?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of a failure of marketing,
Yeah. And I wonder
and in your solution, even though it already exists, that could be the answer. You know what I mean? But I think they need to do a better job of getting these people out there because like you said earlier, if you ask people to name basketball players, when you said it, I started thinking in my mind, and the only names I could think of was Britney Griner and Lisa Leslie. And then after Lisa Leslie popped in my head, I was thinking like, isn't she retired? Like, so
right. Yeah.
So I have no clue.
And if I feel like we can trust anyone to help with this, it is Adam Silver. Like I feel like Adam Silver. Like, this guy is a great commissioner. He's been a really, really good commissioner in comparison to some of what we've seen, right? We saw David Stern, Goodell. Like, these guys are freaking horrible. And I feel like Adam Silver is a pretty good guy. He's pretty progressive. He's open-minded. And I think he has some good ideas, and I think he is on the clock. In a sense, when you talk about the WNBA and stuff, right? To your point, the NBA needs to help them. Like you're associated, right? You WNBA, NBA. Like you should be, and don't and what's cool is you see some of these athletes showing up to the games. You see some of the male NBA players showing up to the games and stuff. And how do you incorporate that? Like, how do you make it to there's ratings, where they can get ratings to where TV contracts are bigger for WNBA games. This way they can pay more, or they want to pay more. These teams, these owners need to make money if they want to. If you want people to be paid, like that's just it's reality. Jersey sales,
Yeah.
like, dude, listen, WNBA jersey? Have you ever seen somebody wearing a WNBA jersey?
Nope.
Other than a WNBA player,
Nope.
I'm sure there's probably a handful of people that do it, right? That are fans and stuff, and maybe young girls, which is great because they have a goal, just like young men, young boys, and even you might see boys with WNBA jerseys. Like we're in a different age, right? And that's fine too, but it's not happening, So it just has to get better. Like they have to make money to get money, and if you're not making money, if you're not making money for the suits, then you're not gonna make money. They're not gonna pay you extra. It's unfortunate, but that's such is life, man. Such is life. Irv Gotti, man. This is kind of just all over the place, but I don't know if you saw he did an interview with Drink Champs. This will probably be a pretty short segment here, but I wish I had saved the audio. But basically, Irv Gotti is a wild boy. Irv Gotti, Murder Inc. If you don't know who he is, him, Ja Rule, Ashanti, like they were a thing back in 2000s, 90s, late 90s,
late 90s, early 2000s.
Irv Gotti's a married man, and Irv Gotti said on the Drink Champs podcast, which is Noriega's podcast, that he was in love with Ashanti. And when he got his heart broken was when Ashanti started to date Nelly, and he was watching, NBA game, and Ashanti and Nelly popped up at a basketball game, and there was commotion, and they announced it and that's when his heart was broken. And the piece that got cut out, and people were like, oh wow, that's not horrible, right? He, poor guy, he got his heart broken. Well, he was laying at home on the couch with his wife when this happened. Like, what kind of wild boy you gotta be to go on and be like, yo, I was in love with this girl. She broke my heart while I was at home on the couch with my wife. Like, dudes is wild, yo. Dudes is wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. But I mean, yeah, is he still with that? Is he still with that woman, the wife?
Good question. How hard is it to fall in love with a side chick?
Was she even a side chick? Like, I don't think they were together. Officially, at least, I would say.
Good point. I don't see him listed as married any longer.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That is wild. Yeah, he
ex-wife. Yeah, he's divorced.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
it's probably
crazy,
one of those
right?
things. Yeah, it's probably one of those things. Like, he was feeling her. Maybe she liked him and just never expressed it because, like, you're married. You know what I mean? And then he sees her dating somebody else, and that's wild. Yeah. That is wild, man.
Yeah. Guess what? We pushing your album back, shorty. Like that's the type of shit. That's the type of shit I'm on, yo. Like, wifey's like, yo, why? What happened with Ashanti's album? Yeah, it just wasn't the right time. Wasn't the right time.
Oh my goodness, man.
Dudes is wild.
Push album. Oh my goodness, that is wild, man. Like you can't, Speaking of that, did you hear the other news?
What's that?
Looks like the great Pete Davidson is a single man now.
Oh,
I saw on Twitter yesterday that him and Kim K broke up after 9 months.
Sniper Pete.
Yeah,
Sniper Pete. Listen, man. I respect Sniper Pete, yo, because
yeah,
this guy looks goofy and doofy. But he probably eat butt. He probably like no doubt he indulges in some monkeypox behavior, like because there's no way like Kim K, Ariana Grande, like Pete's had some meat.
yeah.
Um,
I continue to believe it's probably one of them things where how like you be out and somebody will be like, "Damn, she bad," and she probably got a dude though. She no way she that fine and she's single, and then Pete's like, "Shoot or shoot," So,
right? Yeah.
you know what I
Listen,
mean?
listen. You shoot 100 times, you only got to make one shot.
Exactly,
If you only shoot at dimes and you finally hit one shot, you done it.
exactly.
But this guy be shooting clearly. He had
Yeah.
Ariana, Kate Beckinsale, like Kim K obviously is another one.
Hmm.
A couple actresses that are on smaller names. But yeah, Pistol Pete, man, Pistol Pete back on the market. I wonder if how it'll look with Saturday Night Live. See how he does. Hopefully, and here's the thing with Pete Davidson, man. Like, he went through a really, as funny as it is, that and to make fun of him breaking up and his his meat that he be getting. When he broke up with Ariana Grande, he got into a really dark place.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
dude was talking about, wanting to harm himself and, not wanting to be here and stuff. And so, I just hope, for his sake, for anyone's sake, right? People are like, oh, why do you send wishes to people you don't know? Yeah, I don't want anyone to kill themselves.
yeah.
Like,
Because I'm
what I'm saying?
I'm a human. I'm a
Because I'm
person.
human and I got a heart,
Right.
But I just hope that it's not that kind of situation. I was reading
Yeah.
and it said that some people close to the situation basically said, they're in long term or long distance and they just felt like it was going to be challenging. So they decided to break it off. So we hear that a lot and hopefully that's it. And this guy can get past it because I know with Ariana, he had a tough time. And
Yeah.
Ariana did that also with oh man, I can't remember his name. He passed away. Mac Miller,
Oh,
another
okay.
one who she dated, and he went into a really, really, really dark spot.
So
Ariana got
maybe
that
it's
fire.
Ariana Grande.
Ariana got that fire.
Ariana making Ariana making people, want to give up on life, whereas Chloe got people,
what what you stupid? What was that? What was that gum commercial where they said keep it at a steamy 98.7 degrees? That's Ariana. Like
oh,
her shit like a hot rag, yo. Like it don't get no better, man. For
and
real.
you know what else? Like I was thinking about too. Like we were talking about Pete Davidson, saying, "Oh, shoot or shoot." You only saw the dimes, you hit one. You know what I mean? But you know what it might be too. Like now, you look at some of the people on the list for Pete, and it may just be, even though, like you said, he looks goofy, he looks like a fucking cornball. You know what I mean? But you probably got them chicks out there who's like, they gotta be. He was with Kim Kardashian. He was with Ari. They
Mm-hmm.
got, let me see what you know what I mean. And then you kind of getting points for past
Oh, no
um
doubt.
for past work or whatever.
His list about to get way better because now whoever's next, like all these broads are gonna be thinking, if I'm next, I'm gonna be on TMZ. Like I'm a headline. Pete
Hmm.
Davidson moved on from Kim Kardashian to Mystery woman.
Yeah.
Like this is like that's the shit right now. And so for him, he about to be rolling in it. Stifler's mom said that she this is just really weird. I know I'm all over the place, but Stifler's mom, the actress, I like her a lot too, but
Yeah.
she said that going through after she played Stifler's mom on American Pie, that role got her smashed. Like she smashed over 200 people. And
Word.
yes,
Wow.
and she attributes it to that role. He was like, if I
Damn.
never had that role, there've been a lot of people that I may not have, had been intimate with. About 200.
Wow.
Like, damn. All right, Stifler's
Damn.
mom.
Okay.
Right. Stacky Dacky.
Yeah.
Uh, shout out to Stifler's mom, yo.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Ariana. Yeah, she got it. She definitely got that fire.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else is going on, man? Football season is coming. I know you're excited about this season.
I'm worried
As long,
about this season, man. I'm excited slash worried.
me too.
And the worry comes in because obviously I'm a Dolphins fan, so I follow a lot of Dolphins media,
You should,
social media,
you should always be
and
worried.
the reports that come out um from the Dolphins media is like they're looking good in camp, man. I mean, obviously they're playing against each other, you know what I mean? But people are saying I'm like, and I'm thinking, so it's like I'm hearing the good news, and it's making me think like, man, we gonna be a problem. And then I'm like, then the season starts and we do something stupid, like we start fucking like we don't got an easy schedule to start. First
Yeah.
first 4 weeks, we on the easiest game we got is the Patriots. We play the Patriots, we got to play the Bengals, the Raiders, and the Chargers. First 4 weeks.
Oh my god.
So we could easily be 1-3. You know
Or
what I mean?
or 0-4.
Yeah. So like it got, and then if that happens, all of this like they were looking good in camp kind of shit just makes you think like, here we go, same old Dolphins. So that's
The
why I say
tough
I'm excited slash worried.
the tough part about those kind of like headlines and stuff is when you talk about camp, the ones that I don't listen to when I look at those is I don't listen to like the quarterback. Oh, the quarterback was making all the throws. Like, okay, but there's no pressure, right? Like you're the starting
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. You're red shirted. Guys can't hit you in practice. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a scrimmage, and when you see them in preseason, you get a little bit better idea. What I do pay attention to when I hear that stuff in the media, and I try to see the videos, which I have with the Cowboys, and this is kind of a little segue into it, which I'm excited about and also nervous about, is when I see like I look at the wide receivers, right? The route running, they're running routes against cornerbacks, and cornerbacks, since they're not hitting them, they still obviously want to play defense. And
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb, there's been some videos all over
I
the
saw that.
internet.
I saw that
Um,
that shit made Stefan, not Stefan Diggs. What's his name?
Tavon
Tavon Diggs.
Diggs,
Like
yeah.
deleted his Twitter. He got roasted.
Oof, it was bad. It was bad.
I saw
So,
that.
but the bad part is, I guess the part that makes it scary for me is I hope that CD getting better and not Diggs getting worse. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because he's supposed, I get, he's our number one cornerback ultimately. All them interceptions he had, but he also got torched a lot last year. So,
Yeah. I mean, iron sharpens iron. It's that shit's a saying for a reason.
mhm.
You know what I mean? And Diggs is a good corner. And so CeeDee Lamb going against him in practice every day should help him be better in the season going against one of the top corners in the league in practice every day. I mean, the same thing with like Cooper Cup, having to go against Jalen Ramsey, every day in practice and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even on our side, like with a Jalen Waddle, I feel like Xavier Howard doesn't get the respect he deserves as a top corner in the league, but he's D'ing up Jalen Waddle every week in practice, and now
Balls.
it's more Tariq Hill now. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And even that, like the Tariq Hill Jalen Waddle thing, like some of the stuff that I'm hearing from the reports from the guys who cover the Dolphins, They were like, regardless of whatever happens in the season, they was like the amount of speed that's on the field is insane.
It's
And
crazy.
they were like defenses are gonna have a problem. Like people say, oh, Tua can't throw the long ball, blah blah blah. They was like, if these motherfuckers get open in space, like they was like they're fast, and it's gonna make coordinators have to make a decision. Like, are we covering Waddle? Or are we covering Tyreek? You know what I mean? Like, and if one of them gets loose, so like I said, I'm excited, but I'm worried.
Yeah, the safeties can't cover both sides, and if you send both of those guys on, uh, fly routes, even if Tua can't throw the long ball, that's gonna leave, play for Gesicki, because you're gonna have this. You're gonna probably want safety help on Tyreek, no doubt.
Mhm.
You're probably gonna want safety help on Waddle. So you're gonna be trying to line up a linebacker on Gesicki. So this could be a really good year for him for
Yeah,
Gesicki. So
better
he had a
be.
good
He's
year
on a
last
franchise
year,
tag this
but
year, so he
yeah,
needed.
he had a good year last year too. But with the added pressure on the defenses, yeah, he could have a really really good year this year. I hope. I would like for Tua to have a good year, man, because
Yeah,
he's got two really really good wide receivers. You guys have a pretty good defense. Because you have not just is it Howard, but you have on the other side
Byron
Byron.
Jones.
Yeah, Byron Jones from the Cowboys, who's a damn good
Mhm.
cornerback. So you got two good corners. You got a decent line. Like I think if Tua can keep those guys off the field for a bit, like and you guys got some OG running backs that you brought in for sure. In addition to the guys that you kept, Gaskin and stuff, there should be no reason why your defense should be dead tired like they were last year. So I
Yeah,
think I think Miami has a good year. The only problem though is fucking Buffalo got stronger. Like that's your biggest fucking issue. So you guys, you either got to fight for the division hard or really fight for a wild card, which might be a little bit easier, I think, in the AFC because Pittsburgh doesn't have a quarterback, Cleveland may not
I'm not
have a
sure, man,
quarterback.
because I could easily see three teams from the AFC West making the playoffs, and
Yes,
then that leaves the three other division winners for the six spots, and then that just leaves one wild card spot after that.
yeah,
So
yeah, that could happen. That could happen. It's gonna be an interesting year. A lot of new places and new faces and new places, man. I look forward to this year. Um, I look forward to the Cowboys. I hope that they follow suit. I hope they go out and get Odell. Like, you know, it is what it is. Dude's good. It's good.
yeah,
Good wide receiver. He's coming off an injury. We could probably get him cheap. Sign him to a year and put him up against the Giants. Let him prove something there.
yeah.
Um,
I definitely think that should be like, if I'm Dallas, I would sign Odell in like October, and then I would sign him to a 2-year contract. Basically, the first year would be prorated, but
mhm.
you don't need to bring him, just like we talked about with Julio. Bring him back like around week 14, 15. Let him get geared up. Get some game time under him for the playoffs, and then let's try to make something happen. And then now you got him ready to go for next year. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And what's that going to cost you in the grand scheme of things? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. We get to play the AFC South this year, so that's a bonus. We get Houston, we get the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hmm.
We get Indy with Matt Ryan, so
Matt
that's
Ryan.
yeah, so that's still pretty a good. They could be a good team, but yeah, I mean for strength of schedule, I think the Cowboys are pretty light this year based on the divisions and the teams that we do play aside from and then of course our division who's kind of weak. Um, so yeah, I mean they really don't have to force him in early. You sign him now, get him game ready. Maybe he comes in week 10, 9, 10. Rides you through the playoffs. And you have that big playmaker, that second guy. It's just like basketball, right? The
Yeah.
big piece of to some of these teams, what they're missing is the closer.
Mhm.
That could be going to that next level. So could he be it? Absolutely, because CD. When you talk about and here's the other piece, right? How healthy is Michael Gallup going to be? because he's gonna have to be a solidified 100% number two right now.
Yeah.
Whereas before he was able to kind of chill back and maybe even number one, right? But even though we know CD is the plan number one, but Michael Gallup could break out and be that guy. But
Mm-hmm.
he was always behind Amari, and then CD came in, so you got CD coming out the slot. So he was like a distant third for the most part. So we'll see, man. I'm interested to see what the Cowboys do this year. I think it'll be
Yeah.
a good year though.
Definitely going to be an interesting season, like you said. New faces, new places. That's gonna everything's up in the air.
NFL Plus, you saw that, right? They NFL Plus, they have a streaming app now,
Mhm.
where you'll be able to watch. I forget exactly what it is, but I think it's I think it's the Monday night games, maybe the Thursday night games, and it's not all of them though. So it's not like it's not gonna replace the Sunday ticket right away.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's probably because they still have some type of contract there.
Yeah, I think this is the last year of the Sunday ticket contract.
But I think this is their preparatory
Mm-hmm.
behavior to get them set for next year, get people involved with the NFL Plus, and then say, hey, raising the price $3, but with that raise, you're gonna get all the games, or
Yeah.
raising it however much they raise,
I think they would do
Um,
better instead of doing that. I can see the appeal of wanting to have your own shit, but I think you probably do better just going out to the streamers, like letting people add it to their Prime or to their Netflix or Apple TV, whatever, and then just get the money that way. That way you don't got to pay for the upkeep of the infrastructure to stream games.
yes, yes. So they have NFL Plus, which is preseason games, regular season and postseason local games. These are only on tablet though, so it's not like built into the TVs yet. I don't think. Live premium regular season and postseason games on your phone or tablet. I'm sorry, like prime time. So those prime time games, Thursday nights, Monday night football. That's Saturday or Sunday night football. That's good. Audio NFL library programming on demand, and then they have NFL Plus and that's cheap. It's $4.99 a month or $29.99 for the year.
Yep.
That's not bad if you're not a fantasy guy and you don't want to watch everything and you really just want to watch your team. That is not a horrible deal, dude. I would pay $29.99 for the year
Yep.
if I lived in a market and I just wanted, and let's say I was a cord cutter who didn't have cable or whatever, and I wanted to
Hmm.
watch my local games. Yeah, that's not bad.
The
And
NBA got me like that for during the playoffs and in the second round.
then
The Heat, one of the Heat games wasn't on like TNT or whatever, and I couldn't find it. And then I checked, and it was on like NBA TV or whatever. I think it was NBA TV, but that I don't have that as part of my cable thing, and so
right,
I downloaded the NBA TV app, and then they had a free trial that was 7 days or whatever. But I wasn't sure if any other games were going to come on NBA TV, so I kept it past the trial and paid I think it was like $14.99, and that
right.
let it run through like October. But I canceled it once the finals happened because I knew the
Of
finals
course.
were gonna all be on ABC or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
But they got $15 out of me that way.
that's it, man. Um, yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna get the NFL Plus because I already signed up for the renewal on the Sunday ticket.
Yeah.
So at least the streaming piece. The only thing, right, and I guess that's the difference, right? Because on Sunday ticket you can't stream those primetime games. You only get to stream those regular day games. So the Thursday
Hmm.
night games, the Sunday night games, the Monday night games, they don't stream on Sunday ticket. So that's where this is as I think about it, this is a pretty damn good play by the NFL. See what kind of,
Yeah.
in worst case, if they don't get the response that they're looking for, then next year they just find a player. They partner with Apple or they partner with Amazon or they partner with Roku or whoever,
Mm-hmm.
to get it out of Direct TV and get someone who has a much better app, much better platform for streaming, and then work with that corporation or that company.
Yeah.
But we'll
And
see,
the
man.
streamers definitely want it. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna be making
No
huge
doubt,
offers to the NFL because I'm pretty sure the streamers want it.
no
So
doubt, no doubt. If I'm Apple, oh my lord, are you kidding
yeah.
me? Kidding me? Or even Amazon, like
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what if you're like a Netflix, that's what you really got to worry about because, I mean, for companies like Apple and Amazon, it's nothing. Like like I mean, imagine like I remember I saw it was one of the when I first got into investing, one of the guys I was watching on YouTube, he was talking about like how when some of these companies like started coming about, how Facebook would come to them and um, you know, they were the bigger dog. So, Facebook can, throw money at Instagram and take that over. They throw money at WhatsApp and then they try to get um Snapchat. Snapchat was like, no, we're gonna build our own thing. And then Facebook put those filters on Instagram, which kind of killed Snapchat.
yeah,
And he was saying like when it was something that Microsoft was trying to get and Facebook was competing with it. I can't remember the name of the company. He said he was like, so Mark went in and Microsoft was like, hey, little boy, go play somewhere. You know what I mean? Because like our money long. Like, you know
right,
what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah,
we know you got some money, but you ain't it's levels to this shit. You
right,
know? And
yeah,
that's
and
that's
look,
Apple and Amazon. Like if when you're talking about the streamers compared to like Netflix and Roku and shit like that, they be like, yo, little boy, go play somewhere. You
right,
know,
yeah. If you don't stop, that's cute.
like the adults are talking over here. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I think it would make sense, man. Especially too, like for Apple, they already have devices, like they already, and as does Amazon, right? Amazon has
Mhm.
their Fire Sticks, but Apple
Yeah,
has
their Fire
their,
Sticks, their own tablets.
yeah.
So,
So it just it makes sense. Yeah.
mhm.
I think that's it, man. That's a lot, but I think that's all I got. There was some pinned up stuff that I had in there. You got anything else? You got anything else?
I just give a quick shout out to my man, to my boy TJ, my son. He had a tourney today. He finished first place in there. So,
Nice.
you know,
Awesome.
um,
Congratulations.
yeah, it was a junior gold qualifier. So, like the tournament we just got back from Michigan, that's
Hmm.
junior gold. So, winning first place, he's now qualified for the 2023 junior gold. So, first tournament out of
Damn.
the gate quali. Yeah. So
This is
now,
first like win, like tournament
no, no,
win.
no, he's
Oh,
won.
he's
He's
won.
won a tournament in the past before.
Oh,
He
okay.
got a bunch of top five finishes, and then he got one that he actually won, and then this one. The only thing that sucks about this one though is that this one was purely a qualifier, so like no scholarship money. All he did is just
Oh
qualify
yeah, yeah.
for junior gold. So, but they do have for this the people who run this tournament. They do multiple what the way they do it is they do multiple tournaments throughout the season, and then at the end of the year they have their final tournament, and then that one is for money for them to get like scholarship money or whatever. So but in order to make that final one, you have to bowl in at least three of their tournaments. So he's already
Gotcha.
bowled in this, and but their tournaments are only qualifiers, and it's like, well, shit, he's already qualified, so what the hell's the point? So if he bowled in the other
Yeah.
one, it would just be to be able to get entry into that big one at the end of the season.
Damn. That's good, man. That's
Yeah.
shit. Shout out to TJ, man. That's all. That's awesome. That's awesome. What did he shoot?
He shot a nine. It's like a
Over
nine
four?
forty. It was like a 940 something like that over the 4 games.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
It's like a
No, actually, no. I think it was
230
5 games. 5 games.
5 games.
Yeah.
Still pretty good. Still good.
Hmm.
It's almost a yeah. It's good. I mean, for
Yeah.
a high school kid, shit.
Yeah, and he had the highest score, the highest total pins, and
Yeah.
the for the U20, for all divisions basically. And he's in the U18, but he bowled the highest score even if he was in the U20. So
Did they bowl that over here?
in Oviedo.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Um, I think that's it, man. Shout out to EJ who didn't show up. Um, told us he was home and last minute left. If you
Speaking of
listen to the
EJ, that guy's a piece of shit. I was in Baltimore twice. He didn't come holler at me. He's always talking about people coming to Baltimore. I came to Baltimore 2 times. He didn't holler at your boy.
mm-hmm. Sounds about right. Sounds like EJ. He always talking about you don't come to Baltimore to see me. He didn't even invite me to his wedding.
Oh.
Which, hey, it saved him a plate because they not together no more.
Oh
uh,
man.
all right, man. Oh, happy birthday to E. Senor E, happy birthday. That was yesterday. And Mark, I think his was last week or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That is it. That's all I got. It's getting late and
Yeah.
I'm getting tired. So if you will do the honor, sir, and take us on out of here.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody, like we've been saying, man, we appreciate you guys listening. But tomorrow ain't promise. Send that text message, make that phone call, reach out to somebody, let them know you're thinking about them. I'm pretty sure they would appreciate it. And if something were to happen, God forbid, you probably feel good that you reached out. As always, we definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us. For the folks who tuned in and listened to the podcast live on this late Saturday evening, we definitely appreciate you taking that time out your Saturday to rock with us. For those who will listen later, we definitely appreciate you taking that time as well. You can find the podcast on all podcasting platforms. Just search CastWorthy. And you can also follow us on any of our social media at CastWorthy. On Instagram, it's at CastWorthy_podcast. While you're there, go ahead and leave us a like, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend, help us grow the audience. We definitely would appreciate it. And other than that, man, we will see you guys on the next episode of the CastWorthy podcast. We definitely, again, appreciate you guys rocking with us. And we'll talk to you the next time. We're out. We love you. Peace.